the horrors of pocket lint or whatever.
Now I truly feel like an American.
Wandering around without a mask going, hey, look at my mouth. Does everything look okay in there? Oh, cool.
Yeah, right. What would your mascot even be? Like a naked bald man watching his wife get fucked by someone else? You know, but smoking is cool, kids. Don't forget.
Sushi Jackknife. 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 Sushi Jackknife.
Yeah. Are you feeling about as positive as I am today, Nathan?
I mean, I don't know that I'm particularly negative. That's kind of my default.
True. So you're not... Okay. Yeah.
I'm maintaining.
You're maintaining. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand. I was wondering if you were in a bad mood because we're recording on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
If that had anything to do with it.
Well, I mean, if I'm in any sort of bad mood, it's because those liberal cucks are canceling all of the fireworks all over this country, and we don't get to celebrate the great founding fathers like Jefferson Davis and people like that. We cancel all the fireworks. So.
I didn't realize Jefferson Davis was quite that old, but yeah.
No, founding father. Was Marca.
He must have been some sort of immortal zombie or something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we are recording on the 4th of July, though. I'm sure this is coming out days later. So, happy post-America Day, everybody. Whatever that means to you in the current climate. You know, it's debatable. Nathan, I did want to lead off with something today because... Oh. Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
We're leading off with something?
I know. Listen, I know. It's far-fetched. It's not the traditional route around these parts, but... but nonetheless, I wanted to lead off with one thing. So, you know, we don't often get reviews, but occasionally we get one for the show. And I don't know. Yeah.
Before you go into this,
yeah,
2 questions: is there a review?
Yes.
And do I need to ramp up my angry tone or my grateful tone?
Oh, definitely grateful tone. This is
okay.
This is extremely positive.
I mean, I may still come off as angry either way.
Yeah. But. Well, and first I want to apologize for not noticing this sooner. This was posted on March 16th by our pal who gave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called, by our pal AgitatedState, who says that we are not just another dude chat show. It says, Nathan and Justin set the bar high in this podcast genre. They are clever and play off one another so well. I love this show and their Bob Ross podcast. Highly recommended. And I thought that was among the best reviews we've ever received because I think all we ever wanted to do was elevate the dude chat subgenre of podcasting. Wouldn't you say?
Well, I'll be honest. I wasn't sure that was a genre when we started.
I think it has a name. Yeah.
It's branched out. And we can talk about this more at length if we want later, but I don't know if you've heard this whole Chris D'Elia news.
I haven't, no.
Famous comedian.
Yeah.
He really likes 17-year-olds. Anyway,
oh, no.
We're not going to get into that here.
No.
But in the news of, in hearing about this, I was watching different things talking about it.
Yeah.
And everything was going to all of these different comedians' podcasts to get their response to it.
Right.
And I swear, every single podcast was 2 guys.
Yeah.
That they're just sitting next to each other. They probably spend extensive time talking about beef jerky and treating women as objects.
Right, yeah.
And they all were having to be contrite, which was very fun for me.
Right.
But so I wasn't aware of how much of a genre of podcast this was until just recently.
Yeah.
Because I guess I avoid those podcasts, not on purpose. It just happens.
It's your taste. Yeah, it's your taste. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, we super appreciate the review, Agitated State. Thank you. And I mean, I'm being sincere right now in the fact that I think if we never knew we were going for anything, but if we were going for something, I think that's what we were going for. Not explicitly, but just us being who we are and liking what we like that was the sort of natural result. You know what I mean? Of it. Not that, I'm not saying that we're like the greatest or whatever, but I think that is like what the show is, you know?
What you're saying is we're better than the average person who's a regular on Joe Rogan's podcast. That's what you're saying.
Well, it's funny. I think of Dude Chat. Like, I was thinking about my podcast listening history, right? Mm-hmm. And I think I first listened to a podcast in like 2008, okay?
Okay.
So we're talking, 12 years ago now. God, that's crazy. Right. And it was very, like, a lot of shows at that time, I wasn't aware of, like, the more comedy stuff that was already going on. Mm-hmm. So I was just listening to like educational stuff, you know.
Oh, you were one of those.
Well, yeah, I listened to a show about like playing drums, and I listened to a show, which I still listen to sometimes, where a guy just like reads public domain stories, you know.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
There is a podcast about teaching you how to play drums.
Yeah, well, at least there was. I think it's still around. It was called Drummer Talk. Well, it's not like lessons. It was like,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, he would occasionally like throw in like how to do a certain like roll or something, but
you want to hit the thing with the stick.
Yeah, right.
Just hit the thing with the stick.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a cool show, Drummer Talk. I don't know if it's still out there, but I think it is, and it was really great. I loved it. And then the other one was just a guy reading stories called what's it called? It's actually a pretty popular show. He's doing well. So congrats to that show that I can't remember the name of. Classic Tales. It's called Classic Tales. And then later, I discovered like this sort of genre of podcast we're talking about. For me, it was Tell 'em Steve Dave was a big one for a long time. And like the whole Kevin Smith universe. I listened to basically all of those shows at some point or another. Smodcast, Edumacation, all that. And then it, mixed in there was like the NPR stuff and the 99% Invisible, all that jazz. It's a wide world. It's a wide world.
Yeah, I mean, I've hit most types of podcasts, but apparently I've avoided the type of podcast where they're going to talk at length about MMA and most NPR podcasts, because as much as you people may try to convince me, a 99% Invisible about the horrors of pocket lint or whatever is not interesting. It's not.
That's amazing.
Like 1 out of 4 of those episodes might get me to listen for 30 minutes. So.
I know Roy loves 99% Invisible. I like it too, and I was big on Radiolab. Radiolab was my big one for a long time.
I did listen to Radiolab, not as a podcast, just like on the radio.
Yeah.
But no to the rest of them. And you know how I feel about This American Life.
I know exactly how you feel about This American Life. But you were a big Maron guy. You were huge on Maron, right?
I like Maron, yeah.
Yeah, great show.
The first podcast I listened to regularly was around the same time you were talking about discovering the Sklar brothers.
Oh, I have a vague memory of this.
Had a sports-related comedy podcast.
Okay, gotcha.
Scarborough Country.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. I do remember
that. Which was good.
What do you still listen to podcast-wise?
I bounce all over the place,
do you really?
Honestly.
Yeah.
Lately it's been mostly angry comedians that rant about things.
Yeah. Okay. That's respectable.
Yeah, fitting my general attitude.
Yeah. My listening has very much narrowed, I've noticed. I have, out of the wide sea of movie podcasts out there, I've listened to F This Movie. I like that one. That one's good. I've listened to tons of other movies, just trying them out. But my absolute favorite is called Saturday Night Movie Sleepovers. And I guess it falls under like the dude chat subgenre too, because it's two guys that have been friends forever. They both are film people, like they went to film school, and they watch movies of a certain age, like mostly 80s and 90s, and talk about them through a nostalgic sort of lens, But it's a great show. I love that show. And I have my Enneagram show, and I have my music technology show, Sonic State. And so mine are all very, like, centered on topics now, I've noticed. Like, things that I am interested in, if you will.
Yeah.
It's evolved.
There's just so many at this point.
There's a ton, yeah. And for us, this is, like, very meta right now, but it's something I think we've always been interested in is the idea of podcasts and like what the hell they're about, on a podcast. So
anyway,
I don't know if we ever did the segment we talked about doing where we would just like pull up a random show and probably tear it apart because most shows are bad.
Well, I think we had a full separate idea for a podcast.
We did. That's right. Yeah.
Where each episode was just being mean to another podcast.
Right. Which would have, it's such the quote unquote indie podcast community, if you will, is like a thing and not a thing at the same time, I feel like. They're like, we have known people from other shows who have been very supportive to us, and we've been supportive of them. But like the idea that there's like it's too big for it to be like a unified movement. Like most podcasts are indie podcasts, I guess, if you want to call it that. Yeah.
I just don't think that show would work in retrospect, because every single episode would just start with one of us going, "Oh, look, another true crime podcast."
Yeah. Definitely, if you want to be a movie podcast, a true crime podcast, a paranormal podcast, or a comedy podcast, which is the mistake we've made twice so far, those are like the four most popular, definitely, genres, I think, at least that I've come across. And you can do that from different angles, right? Like there's definitely a show that we support that's like a movie podcast, but it's like it's gay people, it's like a perspective from their angle, you know what I mean?
If you have an angle, it's one thing.
Yeah.
If you're a person like me who's just going, "Hey, so this movie, it was pretty good."
Yeah. Right.
It was pretty cool.
Right.
I liked it.
I think we should try doing like one episode of Sushi Jackknife that is like a movie podcast.
Okay.
Just to see. Well, we kind of did already. We did Die Hard way back. And did we watch it and talk about it at the same time? I think we did. We did, yeah.
I'm in for that. Anyone want to suggest a movie, go ahead. Tell us a movie. We'll toss it around and see if we agree.
Exactly. I think that would be interesting. And it's not something we would do every time. It would be extremely it would be a total one-off. But it might be fun. And you could suggest something horrible that you would make us watch.
Yeah, in fact, I would encourage that.
Yeah, that'll be more fun. Yeah.
I mean, don't come up with like Citizen Kane.
No. First of all, I love Citizen Kane. It's an incredible movie. It's like the first great movie, in some ways.
If you're going to make a suggestion, I want it to be like Legally Blonde 2. Like,
Yeah.
I want Beverly Hills Chihuahua. I want
5 Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
One of the Air Buddies movies.
Oh, God.
Not Air Bud.
No.
One of the Air Buddies.
And just pick a random one, pick a...
Yeah. The one where it turns out Air Bud also is great at pole vaulting. That one. That's the one I want to watch.
The track and field.
Mm-hmm.
Have they done all the sports? Have they done rugby? Have they done like Scottish Highland Games? Anything like that?
Decathlon Buddy. Oh, I love that. Oh,
such a classic. Oh, I just had my first sip of beer on 4th of July. Now I truly feel like an American, though this is a Mexican-style beer.
Then you failed.
I did fail.
I saw this today, and this is just hilarious to me.
Yes.
So all of our coronavirus cases are spiking everywhere because everyone's an idiot in this country. All people are dumb.
Yes.
Mexico has officially shut down immigration.
Oh, the irony.
Yeah.
I think that's smart and good.
Yeah. I think that Donald Trump's going to call this one a win.
Yeah. It's like a weird reality we're living in where that happened. I mean, we did it too, didn't we? Did we halt immigration recently? I'm so behind on the news. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. From several different places, but it doesn't matter because all we did was basically seal in our own idiots.
Right, that's true.
And so now everyone is just wandering around without a mask going, "Hey, look at my mouth. Does everything look okay in there?" Oh, cool.
People are doing maskless curbside dentistry, I noticed, in Nashville. So it's
it's all of a sudden all these right-wing people are like, well, I wanted to greet all my friends with a lick on the face, so I'm just going to do that now.
They've taken a shine to the French, and they're just doing the kissing on both cheek thing. They can do that and wipe themselves out. That'd be fine. And I don't mean the French.
Well, we've got, as we speak, downtown, there's a group of idiots protesting that the city went, hey, everyone is getting this, so no more.
Yeah, right.
They are currently marching around in circles. I'm sure all of them are armed. Whatever.
It's a different world that those folks live in. I mean,
oh yeah,
we experienced it at the Women's March several years ago now. With some of the assholes that were there. Obviously most of the people there were in support, but then we had the counter protesters who are insane. Complete insanity.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I've tried to understand the point of view of them.
Yeah.
And all it comes down to me is it's a very strong moral quandary of which is more important, money and me getting to walk around wherever I want, or like people surviving.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough line. I know. Wasn't there, I forget who it was. Was it a state representative in some state or somewhere? There was like, some things are more important than life or something like that.
In Texas.
Texas, yeah, that's right. That's right. It's like, that is such a crazy, I mean, only in America, really. I think we so see ourselves as cogs in the machine in some ways, that shit flies here better than other places.
Yeah, the guy in Texas says that, and then surprise, Texas is one of the states where everything's going to hell right now.
That's right.
Florida, not good.
Oh God, everyone that just rushed down to the beaches, like fucking hell, man, oh man. And I mean, I guess you could wear a mask on the beach, and that would be helpful, I will say, we don't often like to come out in specific support of a particular thing, but wear a fucking mask. everybody.
I'll say that. I'm not even going to hesitate on that.
Like, that's not that should not be a politicized issue at all. No. Like, wear a fucking mask.
And if you disagree with us, fine. Don't wear a mask. Go out. Let people cough in your face, and then report back to us.
Yeah, let us know.
And tell us how that went.
Yeah, exactly.
Report back from a distance.
Yeah. You can call
closely.
Yeah, you can give us a ring. That's fine. I think that's still safe. The last time I checked.
Once they remove the breathing apparatus from you, just call.
Yeah, call us with your new tracheotomy voice. That'll be awesome.
Ooh, I would actually like that.
Like the guy in South Park with the thing.
Yeah.
Where did I see one time, like, was it on South Park that he would, like, smoke out of that hole in his neck? Or was that on something else? Like,
oh, I don't know.
Someone that had, like, clearly had, like, horrible lung issues and trach issues, and they, like, would smoke out of the hole.
I think that's a real thing. I think there are people who have done that.
Oh, God, that's so awful. That's so awful.
Pretty depressing.
Yeah, pretty depressing. But smoking is cool, kids. Don't forget.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies and speaking of smoking, we watched Knives Out yesterday. Have you seen Knives Out?
No.
Okay, well, we won't talk about it or anything, but it's lovely. It's fantastic. I also watched... I fucking didn't do anything yesterday. Nothing. I watched like 2.5 movies and didn't do shit else. I also watched Uncut Gems. Did you see that one?
I have seen that one.
Holy shit. Spoilers for Uncut Gems if you haven't seen the Adam Sandler Uncut Gems movie.
I was disappointed.
Were you really? Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone built it up too much.
It was
one of those.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be something totally different. I didn't really know anything about it. Starting to watch. This is a preview, by the way, to our movie podcast.
Yeah, no, like when it came out, everyone was talking about he's going to get an Oscar nomination, which he didn't.
No.
But then I watch it and I'm like, it's fine. It's good.
He did a great job, but it was, did it give you anxiety?
No.
Okay. I was sitting there like, just like shaking with anxiety, this movie, because the dialogue is constant and he's constantly like upping the level of shit that he's getting himself into.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it does not stop, this movie. Yeah.
We've discussed this before when it comes to like horror movies.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to give up my separation between reality and the movie.
Yeah.
Like it's I at all times am aware it's a movie, so I never have those reactions.
You have
yeah. You you watch 5 minutes of a movie and then you think that is actually life,
reality,
all around you at that second.
I do tend to get lost in stuff. Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. I do tend to get lost in stuff, and this one included. And I'm about to give away the ending, so if you don't want to hear that, just like skip 30 seconds forward. We probably won't talk about this much longer. That was the only way it could end, I felt like.
Yeah,
like he had done so much shit to like people who would not tolerate his bullshit. Like he fucked with them too much, and he got what was to be expected.
Yeah, no, it was accurate.
Yeah, that part was definitely based in reality. Like that would have happened.
I will say it surprised me because I didn't expect it to be that sudden. Yeah,
right. It did catch me off guard, yeah.
I figured that would be how it ended, but I didn't figure it would just be like, 1, 2, 3, boom, done.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, those were my literal words when it happened. Oh, fuck. Okay.
Like no dramatic scene where, he's realizing the error of his ways as he heads into the bright light. Nothing like that. No. It's just, done.
And from that point of view, I could see you maybe appreciating it because that's very based in reality. Like, you fuck around and you get what's coming to you, like generally.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, and it's over. And it's over. That's mostly what I've spent besides like doing projects around the house and stuff. I've watched a shit ton of movies during the shutdown, and I'm happy about that. I'm happy about it.
I really haven't watched any more than I was before.
Really? Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
No, be honest.
It's just like days go by. I'm like, I don't know what I did.
I know.
I worked at some point, and
yeah, that is what's happening. It's like it just passes. It's crazy the way time passes in a situation like this.
I do a lot more deep dives for information than I did before.
Okay, yeah.
So, like I was talking about the Crystalia thing, I've read a lot of people's reaction to that and been amused and annoyed over and over by it.
So he was sleeping with 17-year-old girls? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
He was contacting them via Instagram.
Okay.
Essentially grooming.
Yeah.
So, but it's one of those where it's real fuzzy details. Like, at the bare minimum, he's a super creep.
Okay. Gotcha.
At the bare minimum.
Okay.
But the actual, like, concrete details are a little fuzzy on everything. It's people putting up emails saying, look, he emailed me, but then you don't know whether he knew how old they were, or, like, there's nothing. So, not defending him. Like I said, bare minimum, gross dude.
Yeah. Which, didn't we all kind of know? I mean, not to judge a book.
No one's surprised by that.
Yeah. I mean, not to judge a book by its cover, but,
But it's really interesting. Okay, so before, when we were in the beginning of the Me Too era.
Yes.
There wasn't much anti-Me Too traction.
Yeah.
It was accusation. The accusation comes at the person, and there's like 4 people who are like, but what if? And everyone yells at them to shut up and tells them to go die. And then we move on.
Uh-huh.
Fast forward multiple years, and
I'm sneezing. Yes.
And we're in the midst of a pandemic, so everyone's at home.
Yeah.
No one has anything to do.
Yeah, it's true.
And so now you have all these bros coming out going, well, what did he do that's even wrong? Like, well, again, at the bare minimum, he's a giant creep.
Right. Like, come on now. Don't, let's not play that game. Do
we have proof that he actually did anything illegal?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Right.
But does legality mean he's not a creep? No.
That will come out in court, right? Like those specifics will come out.
Well, he hasn't been charged with anything.
No one's charged.
No one
with anything.
is trying to charge him with anything, as far as I know. But all this stuff came out, and then everyone started, like, his agency dropped him, all this stuff,
right?
Because super creep.
It reminds me of that Rick James.
Super creep.
Yeah, super creep.
So these people are going, he didn't do anything illegal. Well, that's not why he's in trouble.
Right. I mean, and yeah, if we're not talking about court, then, it's the court of public opinion, which is difficult to navigate these days, no doubt. Like,
yeah.
And I think you and I are probably in agreement on this. I think we are both totally cool with say anything. Like, free speech is dominant. Like, you should be able to say the most horrendous bullshit imaginable. Not that we agree with you, not that we like it, But
most of the time we don't.
Right. That's a right. But what you do is something else. And so clearly he's done something. Whether if that was like you say, grooming, even that's completely fucking creepy. Like, I think he's got to be what? How old is he? He's got to be
40.
Okay, he's 40. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think most men, let's say straight men, realize at a certain point when they have started to be creepy. Like, you look at a person of a certain age, and you know, like, even if you look and there's a question, like, you don't know this person, you just see a girl walking by and you look, right?
Yeah.
But you can tell well enough if she's around the cusp of where you should really be feeling bad.
Right.
And look away. You know what I mean? Like
if she is wearing a Hello Kitty backpack.
Right.
Or in a high school cheerleader's outfit.
Exactly.
Like, you have an idea. She's probably probably in high school.
If you're in high school, that's fine. If you're 25, it's not okay anymore. I mean,
20 and 25 is even high.
That's pretty high. If you're like 20, I would say that's not okay anymore. If you're not the age she is.
Yeah. I was thinking like 22-year-old with 16-year-old. That's really creepy. Don't like it.
Oh,
nope.
that's real creepy. I mean, that stopped being attractive to me, like, when I was 18. You know what I mean? I was like,
yeah.
When I graduated from high school, I was like, gross. That's gross,
Yeah. I had this conversation a little while back about a few people who we know that are college age.
Yeah.
And they don't seem young.
Right.
They seem beyond young. like being around them, seeing them, you're like, that is a child.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that's 22. That person's 22. Still, child.
And you're like, wait, like, they can vote, they can buy booze, they can get shot in a war. Like, they have every right available to them as an adult. But yes, I know what you mean. It's and I think this must just happen as you get older. Like, I'm sure everyone else has always felt this way. It's like,
I'm sure.
They just get younger and younger, and you're like, well, no, like, you're just getting older. Like,
right.
you looked like that when you were that age, but now that looks like a baby to you.
Yeah. So so I can't imagine being a person who is, first off, I can't imagine being a person who's going through Instagram. In general.
Yeah.
Not even looking for anyone, just Instagram, period. I have an Instagram. I've never posted a video or picture or anything on it, and I don't look at it.
You don't get it. It's not your jam.
Let's see. Just for my own amusement, let's see how many Instagram followers I have that are probably shocked by the lack of activity. No, I don't want to post a video. What's happening there?
That's the first thing it wants you to do, Nathan. It's addicted to your videos.
I'm sure it is.
It wants you. Yeah.
I have 45 followers.
Okay.
I'm following 0 people and have 0 posts.
How is that even possible? Like, who followed you?
People we know.
Okay.
I'm on step 2 of 4 for completing my profile. Okay, so I can't relate in general to the idea of going, just going through random people's Instagrams.
Right.
I definitely can't relate to the idea of cruising Instagram looking for females.
Right.
And so all of this is just a complete world outside of my my wheelhouse. But
definitely.
No, so the interesting thing was going on Twitter or Reddit, either one.
Yeah.
And looking for the people defending him.
Yeah.
Because it's just the most insane reverse logic that you can come up with. Again, looking at the facts, he's just a creep.
Right.
Maybe he did something illegal, maybe not. But there are facts that prove he's a creep.
Yeah, that much we know. That much we know.
But these people aren't content to just go, this comedian I like is probably a creep.
Yeah.
They have to try to paint him out as a very virtuous person that everyone is trying to bring down for some reason.
Yeah.
As if there is a group of people in America who are sitting around going, you know who I want to bring down? Chris D'Elia.
That fucking bastard's gone long enough. We gotta find some shit on him.
Oh, he keeps showing up in random things that I wasn't watching anyway. Oh.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense.
I don't know. I don't understand the want or need to even like get involved in that discussion.
No.
Like unless you have some direct relationship, like you're a 17-year-old girl who he reached out to. Okay, you should have an opinion about that. Yeah.
Or if you're a comedian who has worked with him closely,
right.
People are going to ask, hey, did he ever walk up to you and go, you know what I really like? High school juniors. And people like that need to weigh in. Everyone else just needs to shut up.
Yeah, just shut up. Yeah, I know.
But this has really been my main thing in like the last couple of weeks is just watching outraged Twitter people.
Yeah.
Yesterday, this is a good one. I don't know if you heard the news about the Washington Redskins.
No, what happened there?
Okay, so as you know, that is a terrible name for a football team.
It is. It's pretty outdated for at the low end of things like that.
Yeah, it's a dated name. We'll call it that. That's a good way to put it. Yeah,
very PC of me. Yeah.
Everyone is reacting to the George Floyd protest and everything in really weird ways. Like it's causing everyone to look at different racial things,
right? And
some of them are weird and bizarre.
Sure,
like pulling an episode of Golden Girls off of streaming services because it may have blackface in it. Things like that.
What?
Yeah.
Huh.
They had mud masks.
Oh,
it's a thing. I haven't watched the episode.
Okay.
I just saw it.
Okay. I was like, don't fuck with my Golden Girls now. Come on.
Oh no, they took it off. It's gone. That episode doesn't exist anymore. So things like that exist. But one of the more interesting ways is all of a sudden, all of the sponsors for the Washington Redskins are like, hey, while we're on the subject of racism, what's up with this?
Like your whole thing. like,
let's look at just all of this, just everything you have here, Daniel Snyder, owner of the Washington Redskins. Why? And like FedEx threatened to pull their sponsorship of their stadium.
Wow.
All this.
Wow. Yeah.
Nike stopped selling their stuff online.
Holy shit. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Redskins are the leadership group is saying that they will talk to the community about changing the name.
Okay.
The number of people offended by the idea that the Washington Redskins might change their team name is astounding.
Oh, I'm sure that is a mind-boggling number of humans.
Oh man, it's so. I urge you to do this. I'm sure by the time this episode comes out, it will still be happening. To go onto Twitter and look up Washington Redskins and click on literally anything that pulls up. in one of the feeds and start going through the comments from people. This is just an example of one I saw earlier. Someone had said, what is a good alternate team name for them to use?
Right.
And had a poll of different choices. And one of the first comments was, what about the Washington Cucks?
Oh my God. My God. That's one of those that, like, I would almost want to post it myself, ironically.
Yeah. It's one of those where you have to go, I can't tell if we're being satirical or not. I'm not.
Right.
Are we being serious about this? Because that's a terrible team name if you are being serious.
Yeah, right. What would your mascot even be? Like a naked bald man watching his wife get fucked by someone else?
a naked bald man just weeping.
Yeah, that's it.
He's always in the fetal position, just in different areas of the stadium.
He's wearing periwinkle.
Yeah. So, and I'm really interested to see what happens because the Cleveland Indians have now also said they're going to look at changing their team name.
The pressure's on Cleveland.
And it was 3 years ago, I think, the Indians got rid of their chief Wahoo.
Oh, okay.
Mascot.
Okay. Wow.
I don't know if you are familiar with Chief Wahoo, but it makes the Redskins logo and everything look pretty nice.
Sounds like that deserves an image Google real quick.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm wondering about the Atlanta Braves, which I forgot comes from Native American culture,
I've wondered about that because I don't know. The thing is, that isn't...
It's not as direct? Is that what it is?
Yeah, well, and as far as naming goes, maybe it is. I don't know. I can't really...
Well, the symbol, I don't know if it still is, but the symbol forever was the tomahawk.
Oh, yeah. No, that's still there.
Yeah.
I don't know that you can say that is an overly offensive team name.
Yeah.
But you also can't say it's not.
Yeah.
It's not my call. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not in charge of it.
Right. It's one of those, if you stop and think about it for a second, you're like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, it's all over all sports.
It's true.
I think you got to start with the Redskins and Indians. And then work your way to, like, the Chicago Blackhawks and people like that.
Yeah. It's strange that it's all Native American, too. Like, I think we would have changed it a lot quicker if it was some derivative of another racial group. You know what I mean? Like,
well, part of the issue, too, is most of these are really historical teams.
Yeah. So it's coming out of a time. Is that the idea?
Yeah, like the Redskins... I think it was in the 1910s or something that they got that name.
Yeah, okay.
So it's people clinging on to things like they do. The same people who are like, Confederate statues are cool.
Right.
We really need those.
The thing that I sort of relearned, speaking of Confederate statues real quick, the thing that I relearned... or re-remembered or something this week was that most of those were erected like directly to fuck with the black community. Like they were not erected around the time of the Civil War. They were erected in the 60s and some of them in the 20s to like actively suppress black people. Like that's the reason they're there. And when you know that, it's very hard to defend their existence, Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about Stone Mountain.
Yeah, Stone Mountain, Georgia. I went to Stone Mountain numerous times, being from Georgia. Yeah.
1965.
There you go. Exactly.
And according to Wikipedia, it was opened, this may be a coincidence, I just, we'll throw it in there too, opened officially 100 years to the day of Lincoln's assassination.
Holy shit, are you kidding me? That is some wild bullshit Southern shit right there, man. I say that as a native Georgian myself. Oh my God. I mean, I remember
real cool.
Yeah, we went to Stone Mountain for a school trip, some 20 some odd years ago now, on the 4th of July. And I remember singing, what's that guy? I can't remember his name, but Proud to Be an American, Lee Greenwood. Lee Greenwood, yeah.
Man.
And there were fucking fireworks going off and shit. It was wild. It was a good old redneck time.
There's something I find wonderfully ironic, though, about people celebrating the independence of the United States of America by going and sitting around a monument dedicated to traitors.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is from that point of view. You're right. That's exactly what it is.
Like, I love America. These guys tried to go against America. Yeah. Anyway, fireworks.
I mean, I was raised in the sort of milieu of the Civil War because the South has not forgotten, right? At least the white South has not forgotten about the Civil War. Never will. Right. I mean, the number of roadside attractions I've been to that say where you can buy like a figurine with a hillbilly guy on it that says the South will rise again is shocking. Mm-hmm. It's shocking. Mm-hmm. So I just grew up in that milieu, and we focused on the Civil War so much in school. And I really feel like I missed out, honestly, on other eras of American history because, like, who gives a fuck? Like, why, it's an important era, of course, but like we spent so much time on it compared to everything else. It makes no fucking sense.
All right.
It makes no sense.
It's no, it's insane when you start thinking about it. I heard a comedian this week put this in the best way that I could imagine it ever being put as far as like Confederate monuments and statues go. Okay. Andrew Schultz. Okay. Andrew Schultz said, these people, aren't these people supposed to be the people who are against participation trophies? Because all these are participation trophies.
Oh, that's so good.
It's a good point.
That's so good. You lost.
But you tried real hard.
You tried.
And that's what matters.
That's right. I mean, the idea, we're maybe, I'm not going to say we're close to a civil war, but there's a lot of civil unrest, right, at the moment.
Yeah.
No one's going to dispute that. But the idea of, I don't know, what would the South have been at that point? More than a third of the nation, probably?
Yeah.
In terms of landmass, like breaking away and forming a new country. Like, it's bizarre to think about. Can you imagine, like, I don't know, these days I feel like the coasts would break away. And you could have an independent California and like an independent New York and New England, and then all the rest of us are fucked.
Oh yeah. Then we become third world real quick.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's a very, very different era. Because can you just imagine any group in America trying to break away today?
Yeah. It would be impossible.
How quickly would that be squashed?
Oh my God. I guess this is what these crazy people worry about. They're like, we want to reserve the right to break away from the nation. And so we're going to stockpile all the weapons we can and, get our bunkers going and all that jazz. But,
well, I'm sure your AR is going to do a number against the drones that start bombing you.
Exactly. And the ability of the government to just use a computer in 5 minutes to erase you from existence. Yeah. Oh, there goes your social security number. Goodbye. I mean, for all the people that, are against, and I'm thinking of certain family members now, against like globalization, it's like, bro, there's no going back. Like, we're there. It is a global economy at this point. We are far too interconnected to be an isolationist fucking backwater anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's
not a choice.
It's not a choice. Like, why do you
that
think
option is way off the table?
Come on, George Washington. Why do you think this is an option?
No. Part of my reaction to all of this, by the way, is just stemmed from the fact that this last week I had a couple days where in-laws were visiting.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And we do not agree politically. So I've had all this built up.
Of course. Well, listen, I get it. Yeah. You know, we're having one of those where it's just kind of a complain session, and that's fine. You know, you gotta let it out.
I was very proud of myself because I made the mistake of watching the news. That's on me. We're going to start there. Yeah. I'm blaming myself.
This is on me. Yeah.
I wanted to know what was happening with the world because, as we've discussed, coronavirus is going way up right now.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So I was like, I'd like to know what's happening. And the CBS Evening News, all of the people in charge of it got together beforehand and went, you know what we should try to do? Let's just fuck Nathan right over. Let's just make this as difficult as possible. And every story leading off the news had to do with the Atlanta cops that shot that guy in, was it Jack in the Box? Anyway, the fast food restaurant.
Wendy's, is that the one you're thinking of?
Yeah,
Wendy's.
That one.
Yeah, that's horrible. That was a horrible case. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, bring that up around people that I know don't think Sean Hannity is always wrong. I'm like, oh no. And so I'm quietly watching the news, hoping that I fade from visibility and people don't notice I'm there and don't speak to me. And after like the third story about stuff like this in a row, thank you CBS Evening News for making sure it's extra difficult. My mother-in-law said something about I mean, they never talk about what these people did.
Right.
I know I have to go back there now.
Yeah. It was like,
it's where people aren't saying phrases like "these people" and
oh man, yeah,
things like that. I'm like, nope.
I don't envy you in that situation. I mean,
nope.
I have one extended family member, not on my side, who died a while back, and I gotta say, you know, I did love him and everything. He was a absolute racist and a dick, and so I am happy I no longer have to have those conversations anymore. You know, I mean,
do you in your family or family of in-laws, anyone you would have to associate with because of blood, have any of the people who all of a sudden think that being on social media gives them the right to say whatever they want all the time, way more than they would normally?
I don't have that, and I'm particularly talking about my side. On my wife's side, I don't know. On my side, like, no one is modern, really. Like, I mean, my folks are to a certain extent, but like most of my family is not. Politics was never a thing. It was like everyone had already decided in the family that it was all fucked anyway. Like that's the sort of consensus.
That's not a bad attitude to have.
Right? Like, I don't think any of them really vote. I might be wrong about that. Maybe they do it and we don't talk about it, but like politics aren't a thing so much. You know, I will say, and I was super proud of my grandfather, who is in his 90s, right? And definitely if we could have this conversation, my grandfather would be a social conservative and probably a conservative overall. I mean, he was a preacher, you know, he's a, you know, Christian guy, who is not full of hate by any means. I wouldn't say he's a hateful person, but I don't think he's a social liberal. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I just get the sense, you know, but even he said, I may have said this on the show already, but even he said, we talked about Trump ever so briefly. And my grandfather is a man of few words. And like a lot of people with few words, most of the words he says are actually like pretty wise. And so he said, you know, I don't know anything about this guy, but I can look at a man and tell if he's a liar. And I was like, thank you, Grandpa. Like, you get it. Like, he gets it. He knows he's full of shit.
As long as he doesn't follow that up with, I can look at a man and tell when he's a liar. And this is an honest, God-fearing man.
Right, exactly.
Because then you just sound like Franklin Graham, and that's nonsense.
God, yeah, such nonsense, yeah.
No, I've got an aunt. We've talked about her before.
Yeah.
And going back to the Women's March again, who was very upset that we attended the Women's March and tried to argue with one of our mutual friends.
Oh, no.
Even though she had never met her.
Oh, no. What? Oh, my God. Online? Tried to argue with her online? Oh, my God.
So she's back.
Yeah.
Doing all sorts of fun things on Facebook. To the point that my cousin, a few weeks back, texted my mom to say, hey, so I've noticed she's not following you guys anymore. I think I need to block her. What's going on?
Oh, my God.
Because she is doing the same thing.
Okay. Yeah.
On Facebook that I was talking about my mother-in-law doing, where it's, well, does anyone know what these guys did to the cops?
Oh my God! Come on.
Which the answer is not kill them.
Yeah. Right. Like
I don't know. I mean, we've seen the video of what happened.
Yeah.
So there's that. But regardless of whatever that showed,
yeah,
not attack them and try to kill them.
Right.
So I think that's the end of the conversation.
No justified use of force. And of course you're talking about George Floyd, but we're also talking about, and I'm sorry I don't remember the guy's name in Atlanta, but I mean, I think his crime was literally he was drunk and passed out in the drive-thru, and they fucking shot him when he tried to run away. Like, what? You know? I think it was when he tried to run away. Yeah.
Yeah, it was when he tried to run away. Now, he did grab a previously used taser.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't hear that.
But it was previously used.
So it can't have caused harm? Is that the idea?
Yes, and also he's running from you.
Not toward you.
So
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if anyone here listening to this has ever had a person run the opposite direction. It doesn't feel great as a person to know that they're running away from you. But it's not threatening.
Well, unlike Chris D'Elia, that was most 17-year-old girls' reaction to me.
Oh.
They would just run away.
Oh, well, that got sad.
Yeah. And you know what? I did not contact them on Instagram afterwards.
You should have.
Well, I would have had to invent it first, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So my aunt continues to, every time any of my relatives post anything about police overreacting, police doing any violent act,
right,
replies with, "What did they do?" Like, I don't.
Like,
okay, well, let's just look specifically at only George Floyd.
Yeah.
He laid there.
Yeah.
He laid.
He laid there and tried to breathe.
I don't.
You know?
If you can point out what was violent there, feel free.
Well,
yeah,
it's even just the premise that's based on. What did they do? It's like, well, I mean, are you not seeing the power differential here? Like, I think a big. I'm not saying this is the root of the problem, but a big part of the problem is like the over militarization of the police in America. Like, they have a lot of fucking guns. They have a lot of fucking firepower. They're, from what I've understood, and I'm not saying this is true of every police precinct everywhere, but a lot of them receive training that is not so much about keeping the peace, but is about like subduing people, and they have to do that as part of their job, absolutely. But like, there's so many factors, but it's. The goal of the police is to protect the public. Am I wrong about that? I don't think I'm wrong about that. Like,
no, that's that seems pretty accurate. Okay, yeah. Just imagine this. Let's say someone was going to give you a bunch of military grade equipment.
Me personally? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You.
All right.
And then they're like, "Don't worry. I know this may be overwhelming to use, but we're going to teach you how to use this over the course of 12 weeks.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I think you can find a few issues in this, even if you choose, like my aunt, to ignore anything race-related.
Yeah, yeah.
You can find a few procedural problems with this idea.
What is 12 weeks? What is that? 3 months? 3 months, right? 4 months. Yeah, 3 months. That's not even a semester in college. Like, that's what I'm trying to relate it to, because obviously I know a lot more about college than I know about like being trained in weaponry. But come on, like, I had to go to school for like nearly 5 years to be able to like fucking like, I don't know, get a job versus, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, like to be able to write a paper about some bullshit. Like, I'm so overqualified to do that. You know what I mean? But
1 year isn't enough training for that.
It's really not. No, it's
2 years really isn't enough real training.
Right. No, and when you factor in that so many of these police officers were in the military and stuff. I don't know the numbers on that. That's something I ought to know. But, a lot of people have trauma, that they're still dealing with. And, if you've been in the military, it is your job to kill people and subdue and control situations. Like, that's your gig. Not in every respect, but if you're on the ground, you know what I mean? Like, running around in Afghanistan or Iraq in the last several years, that was your gig. And then you come home and you've got a lot of fucking problems, and we don't take care of those people either properly. And
why would we do that?
Why would we do that? They just...
It's America. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Come on.
I know. God. It's a lot.
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th. So we should really do... Yeah. Oh, Nathan, that was perfect. So obviously next time on Sushi Jackknife, we should really do a movie and change the tone of the show.
Next one, we're just going to do a top 10 ranking of the greatest farts of all time.
I don't know.
Cinematic farts.
Agitated State, I hope we haven't disappointed you in the length of this episode with our very serious discussion overall.
Again, farts. Farts.
We'll do farts next time. Farts and movies. That seems a lot better. Anyway, everybody, thanks for listening. We love you all. Thank you to our long and dedicated listening audience. We love you guys. We love each other. Shit. And Sushi Jackknife.
Sushi Jackknife.
And Black Lives Matter, guys. They do.
Uh-huh.
And gals. Gals' lives matter, too, by the way. Chris D'Elia, what the fuck, man? Okay, bye-bye. Million.